Miami rain always had a mind of its own. It never arrived gently, nor did it warn anyone with proper timing. Instead, it gathered like a secret over the hot Florida afternoon, hanging thick in the air before finally spilling over the city in quick sheets of silver. Outside the small community center near Coral Way, the parking lot shimmered with reflections, neon signs bending in the shallow puddles, palm trees trembling with wind, and the sky brooding in layers of soft gray. Inside, the air conditioning blasted too cold, humming like a restless bee trapped in echo. A printed sign taped to the wall read, "Neurodiversity Meetup, Safe Space. Welcome." To most people, it was just another room with plastic chairs and a table of stale cookies. But to a few, it was an entire galaxy where they could exist without apology. Lucas had chosen the back corner. As always, he liked walls behind him. He liked exits in sight. He liked room to breathe. His navy blue shirt was plain and comfortable. His ID badge rested against his chest, and his right hand kept sliding the badge up and down along its lanyard, a subtle, rhythmic movement that grounded him when the world felt too sharp. It was his favorite public stimming, quiet enough not to draw stares, soothing enough to keep him steady. He tried to ignore the clicking pen at the front table, the squeak of a metal chair being dragged, the fluorescent lights flickering every few seconds, each flicker stabbing the edges of his thoughts. He didn't want to be there, but he also wanted to be there. His therapist had said it might help him to be around other autistic adults, people who understood the exhaustion of performing normal, every day, the sensory battles, the social puzzles that felt upside down. He'd agreed mostly because he was tired of trying to do everything alone. Maya stood by the coffee table near the wall. She held a paper cup with both hands, but the real comfort was in her left hand tapping its side. A gentle, consistent drumming, talk talk, talk talk talk, a self-regulating melody only she could hear. Her headphones hung around her neck like a safety rope. Her dark curls were tied in a loose ponytail, and one curl kept falling over her forehead whenever she turned her head. She wore a gray hoodie, sleeves pulled halfway over her palms so she could pinch the fabric between thumb and forefinger, another quiet stim. She scanned the room carefully. A guy biting his thumbnail too fast. A woman twisting a Rubik's Cube without looking. A man with a graying beard clicking his pen in a deliberate 3 fast, 2 slow pattern. She wasn't listening to their words. She was watching their hands, their rhythms, their repetitions, the universal language beneath speech. The mediator clapped her hands gently. Both Maya and Lucas flinched. "Thank you all for coming," she said warmly. "We won't do introductions in a circle, no pressure today. Instead, we have stations. The quiet corner, the art table, the coffee area, and here in the center, you can pair up if you want to talk." She handed out small cards with 3 choices. Talk, observe, or not today. Lucas took observe. Placed it on his chest like armor. Maya took talk, but held it upside down, uncertain. People started moving, choosing their corners, pulling chairs, adjusting lighting, testing fidget. And then something tiny changed everything. Maya began gently rocking on her feet. Her coffee tapped lightly in sync. Lucas noticed instantly, not as something odd, but as something familiar. He rocked like that too, usually alone, usually near his window at home. Without even thinking, his fingers tapped his badge again, this time matching her rhythm. Maya felt it before she consciously saw it, another pattern overlapping hers. Her eyes followed the sound, slow and cautious. They landed on Lucas. A microsecond of surprise. Then recognition. Then a quiet acceptance. He froze. Should he stop? Should he pretend he hadn't been mirroring her? For the first time in the room, he didn't stop stimming. He continued the movement. Slower now, intentional, a silent message. "I move like this too. You're not alone." She took a small step toward him, heart fluttering with something warm and uncertain. He sat up straighter, panic and curiosity spiraling together. She reached him. Neither of them managed a high. They simply stood there, reading each other like open books written in the language only the two of them understood. His badge read, Lucas, he/him, a 29. Hers, Maya, she/her, a 27. She lifted her talk card and pointed at herself. He lifted his, observe, card and rotated his hand nervously, a gesture that clearly meant, I can try. If you want to. She smiled. A small, fragile smile. The kind that doesn't open the whole face, but opens the whole heart. Maya grabbed a deck of conversation cards the mediator had placed on a small table and offered it to him. Lucas hesitated, then chose one from the middle. It read, What stimming makes you feel most like yourself? A soft laugh slipped out of him. That's funny, he said. I didn't even know stimming had a name until 3 years ago. Before that, it was just me being weird. She nodded, her eyes kind and focused. She gently tapped the paper cup again. I like repetitive sounds, she said, tapping a simple pattern. Like this. Or tapping on wood. Or rain. His whole expression softened. I move my badge, he said, almost shyly. Or pens. Or, I rock. A lot. At home, I rock like a human rocking chair. Both laughed, short, genuine, unfiltered. The room around them blurred, like someone lowered the volume on the world. For the first time in a very long time, neither of them felt watched. They felt understood. They spent the rest of the meetup together, sometimes talking, sometimes silent. When the break was announced, Lucas brought 2 water cups and offered one to her. She took it gently. He asked, Do you come here often? She smirked softly. Today's my first day. But I think I'll keep coming back. He swallowed his nerves. If you come, he said, I'll come. Her cheeks warmed. She looked away, but her smile gave her away. Outside, rain finally began in earnest, loud, fresh, and cleansing. They met the next week, and the next, and the next. ***. They began messaging outside the group. Long texts, thoughtful texts, texts with time to think. Lucas sent short clips of his stims. His hands squeezing soft clay. The sway of his old porch swing at night. The rhythm of his foot tapping softly on carpet. Maya sent audio recordings. Rain on her window. Pen tapping a steady beat. Palms rustling in the wind near her apartment. They created their own language. A vocabulary of textures, rhythms, comforts. One afternoon, during a workshop, Maya said something that made Lucas freeze. I never dated before, she said quietly. People always said I was too much or too sensitive or too hard to understand. He nodded, staring at his hands. Same, he said. I was too quiet, too predictable, too strange. No one wanted to learn my patterns. They just wanted me to change. Predictable isn't bad, she murmured. Predictable is safe. He turned his head, catching her eyes for a brief second. You think, he started, voice trembling, 2 autistic people could date? She half laughed, half exhaled. Yes. Maybe even understand each other better. His foot began tapping faster. She noticed. Is that anxiety, she asked gently, or happiness? He smiled softly. Both. But more happiness now. A silence settled over them, warm, hopeful. Finally, she whispered. Lucas, would you date someone who stims a lot? And forgets how to make eye contact sometimes? And cries when the grocery store is too loud? His eyes softened. I would date you, he said simply. The breath she let out was shaky and beautiful. I would too, she said, but only with a contract. He blinked. A contract? She giggled softly. Not a real one. A relationship agreement. Terms and conditions. Like, if I need to be alone, it doesn't mean I stopped loving you. If I stim, don't ask me to stop. If I can't look at you, I'm still listening. He found it breathtaking. I accept, he said. With one clause. If I listen to the same song for 3 days, I'm not ignoring you, I'm regulating. She laughed, a small, bright sound. They created the contract that night, and began dating the next week. Their love wasn't loud, wasn't dramatic, but it was whole. Asterisk, asterisk. They learned each other the way people learn constellations. Slowly, reverently, noticing patterns that had always been there. They went for quiet walks after rainstorms. They texted each other their favorite sensory moments of the day. They asked, "Is today a hugging day?" Before coming close, they celebrated stim dances when one of them was happy. And they forgave each other easily, because they recognized each other's overstimulation before it turned into overwhelm. No performance, no mask, just two people finally allowed to exist. One night they sat on Miami Beach after sunset. The tide whispered in and out. Downtown lights glimmered far away. The air smelled like salt and warm sand. Maya drew circles in the sand with her fingertip. Lucas rocked gently beside her. "People always told me my way of loving was wrong," she said softly. "Too intense. Or not intense enough." Lucas nodded. "They said I was hard to love," he whispered. "Because I need routine. Because I shut down. Because I stim." She looked at him, eyes warm as moonlight. "When I see you rock," she said, "I don't see something wrong. I see someone regulating. Someone safe." He swallowed the lump in his throat. "When you tap your fingers," he said, "I think it's beautiful. Like music without sound." She blushed, gaze drifting to their hands in the sand, almost touching. Then she whispered, "Stimming together, that's what we are." He smiled. Because it was true. Love, for them, wasn't fireworks or chaos. Love was stimming side by side. Two rhythms becoming one. Lucas gently moved his hand closer. Not touching. Just close. Asterisk, asterisk. She sensed it. Matched his movement. Their fingers didn't intertwine. Not yet. But their stims did. He tapped the sand. She traced circles. Their hands moved separately, but in harmony, like a duet. After a few minutes, he brushed the back of her hand with his. She didn't pull away. She deepened the touch. "This is my version of a movie kiss," she said softly. He whispered back, "It's better. Because it's ours." The waves came closer. The sand cooled. The city hummed behind them. And there, at the edge of the ocean, two autistic hearts found a rhythm they didn't know they'd been missing. A rhythm that felt safe, and real, and beautifully theirs.